Most financial gurus insist you need $1 million to feel secure, or that 6 figures is the magic doorway to freedom. But they are missing a quiet, much smaller milestone that completely rewires how your brain operates. Before you ever reach real wealth, there is an invisible psychological line, and once you cross it, the rules of your daily existence permanently change. That number is $20,000. To understand why this specific number matters, you have to look at what happens to a human mind operating with zero safety net. When you live paycheck to paycheck, your brain isn't planning a decade ahead. It is operating in pure survival mode. Every financial decision is filtered through fear, scarcity, and immediate threat. You take the first terrible job offer because you can't afford to be picky. You stay in toxic work environments because leaving feels like a catastrophic risk. You say yes to demands you despise simply because you need the immediate cash to survive the next 30 days. Neuroscientists and behavioral economists have documented that financial scarcity acts like an invisible tax on your mental bandwidth. Trying to build long-term wealth while living in survival mode is like trying to plan a vacation while your kitchen is actively on fire. Your cognitive energy is entirely consumed by putting out immediate blazes. This is why pushing a boulder up a hill is the ultimate metaphor for early wealth building. When you begin at zero, every single inch of progress requires grueling effort. You sweat, you sacrifice, and you question whether momentum is even possible. Everything feels like it is working against gravity. Research shows that having just $2,000 in an emergency fund increases your psychological well-being by over 20%. It removes the immediate panic of a flat tire or a dead laptop. But when you expand that buffer to cover 3 to 6 months of actual living expenses, which for the average person lands right around $20,000, something far more fundamental shifts. Suddenly, your brain gains the cognitive breathing room required to switch from defense to offense. You stop asking, "How do I survive until next Friday?" and start asking, "How can I leverage this position to grow?" You move from pure preservation to strategic expansion. The transformation isn't just psychological, the raw mathematics of compound interest finally become visible at this scale. If you save $1,000 a month at an 8% return, reaching your first $20,000 takes roughly 19 months. It demands sacrifice, discipline, and relentless delayed gratification. But reaching your second $20,000 doesn't take another 19 months. It takes 17. Your initial capital is now working alongside your monthly contributions, generating its own momentum. You put in the exact same physical effort, yet the timeline automatically shrinks. By the time an investment portfolio reaches $400,000, generating another $20,000 takes less than 5 months. The exact same amount of wealth that originally took nearly 2 years of painful effort now occurs automatically through capital efficiency. The boulder has crested the hill, and gravity is finally working in your favor. Below the $20,000 mark, investment returns feel completely insignificant. A 10% annual gain on $2,000 is $200, a nice dinner, but hardly life-changing. But a 10% return on $20,000 is $2,000. That is real money flowing into your life without exchanging your time for a paycheck. Yet, the true value of accumulating $20,000 isn't the physical cash in your bank account. It is the identity shift required to get there. Unless you inherited a windfall, saving $20,000 requires you to master impulses, track cash flow, and repeatedly choose long-term freedom over short-term comfort. You prove to yourself that you govern your money, rather than letting your money govern you. This new identity completely alters your career dynamic. $20,000 provides what behavioral strategists call walking away money. You no longer negotiate from desperation. You can push back on unreasonable workplace demands, request the raise you deserve, or take the time to interview for better roles because you aren't terrified of missing next month's rent. Fascinatingly, you rarely ever need to spend that safety net. Simply possessing it alters your posture, your confidence, and your willingness to take calculated risks. Employers and clients sense when a person is operating from strength rather than panic, creating a positive feedback loop that accelerates your income. This stability also eliminates the silent killer known as decision fatigue. When you are broke, every micro-purchase requires exhausting mental gymnastics. You burn cognitive energy debating whether to buy name-brand cereal or generic pasta, leaving your brain drained when it comes time to make high-stakes life choices. With a solid foundation, these micro-decisions become irrelevant. The $3 coffee will not make or break your financial future. What actually determines your destiny are the macro choices: where you live, what you drive, how much you invest, and how you position your career. Crossing $20,000 frees your mind to focus exclusively on the decisions that actually move the needle. Unfortunately, this is precisely where most people destroy their momentum. The moment they cross this threshold, they experience a surge of relief and immediately reward themselves with a massive financial liability. They sign an 8-year loan for a $70,000 pickup truck or stretch their budget to the absolute limit for a house they can barely maintain. They trade their newly acquired freedom for a shiny status symbol, trapping themselves right back in the hamster wheel of monthly payments. They become prisoners to depreciating assets, spending hundreds of thousands of dollars over a lifetime just to maintain an illusion of success while quietly destroying their future independence. $20,000 is not a reward to be spent, it is the permanent foundation of your freedom. It is the boundary line between reacting to life and intentionally designing it. When you build this bedrock, you aren't just saving currency, you are buying back your time, your confidence, and your clarity. Start laying that foundation today, because the person you become while building it is the real asset.